Australian trademark dispute between Katy Perry and designer Katy Perry is won. An Australian fashion designer with the name Katy Perry who was born has defeated a particular Katy Perry in a trademark dispute in her native nation. In 2009, the two Perrys began arguing over who had the right to sell items under the Katy Perry namesake in Australia. The singing Perry wrote a severe legal letter to the designing Perry, which prompted the latter to criticize the former online. The singer stated that the angry letter was only a standard correspondence issued as part of her own company's attempt to register some trademarks and was not, as the designer claimed, the beginning of any legal dispute. The disagreement did, however, ultimately end up in court, albeit years later and at the designer Perry's request. She sued pop singer Perry in 2019, saying that the musician's sale of clothing items using the Katy Perry name in Australia violated her trademark. She eventually found someone prepared to pay the lawsuit. Since Katy Perry had married by then, her legal name was now Katy Taylor. That wasn't pertinent to the legal dispute, but it was brought up that Perry Taylor had gone by Katy Howell when she was younger because that was the last name of her stepfather. She was actually born Katy Perry, and she had resumed using that name about the time that she launched her clothes line in 2006. Furthermore, Katy Perry is actually Katie Hudson rather than Katy Perry, as is obvious. She recorded her debut album under that moniker in 2001. But it wasn't until her 2008 album One of the Boys that she achieved mainstream success as Katy Perry. It was launched 2 years after the designer Perry began selling apparel under her real name, though it wasn't until soon after the 2008 release of the other Perry's album that she registered the Katy Perry brand in Australia. However, despite all of those technicalities, Perry has prevailed in the trademark conflict, which is to say, Katy Taylor or Katy Perry, whichever is easier to understand. My opinion is, Australian Judge Bridget Markovic ruled last week that Ms. Taylor was entitled to an injunction against to stop it from continuing to engage in illegal behavior. The judge continued, I am convinced that the respondent's infringing conduct was such as to attract an award of additional damages in relation to the infringing conduct that has been established. Although the judge did not specify what those additional damages would be, Katy Perry commented on the ruling on social media, saying, earlier today the Federal Court of Australia announced its decision in which I won the David and Goliath case, or my legal action against the artist Katy Perry and her businesses, for violating my ownership of the Katy Perry trademark in Australia, which I have had since September 29, 2008. We demonstrated infringement, and the cross-claim was rejected. She continued, I resisted an attack on me and the trademark. She said, looking back on the protracted trademark dispute, you may recall that the U.S. singer tried to have me shut down in 2009. The opposition to my trademark was dropped as a result of its failure. In the federal court, I withstood a brutal cross-examination in 2021. I have been tormented and trolling over the past few years, including while fighting it out in court, she continued. My family and friends have received trolling. I have had to endure hearing negative remarks made about me while I sat in court crying. I've been accused of being naive and opportunistic. But these are just characteristics of business owners starting out. This is good news for small businesses, she said. It's critical to stand up for yourself when confronted by a bully. We matter. Australian laws matter. In addition to fighting for myself, I also battled for the nation's small enterprises, many of which were founded by women, which sometimes had to compete with foreign organizations with far greater financial clout than we do. We succeeded. We are winners.